how about Brazil? We had a little bit of a conversation about Brazil just recently. I don't know if you know what's happening there, right? A new president that, again,
Lula.
also, Lula made it very clear, I'm a socialist, a guy from the left who's actually reversing a lot of the position of the previous president, who was a right, pro-capitalism type of guy. As a matter of fact, what Bolsonaro was trying to do is he was trying to privatize a lot of the government large entities, which from my perspective is a good idea because they stop. If you can privatize, especially something like Petrobras, I don't know if you're familiar. Petrobras is their equivalent to what is the entity for Venezuela? PDVSA, right? So that would be the equivalent, and I'm talking about something that's worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you have a country that's already corrupt, right, with a lot of politicians where it has been undisputable, as a matter of fact, Lula was arrested at some point under charges of corruption, former vice president, right? So here you have access to all of this money, right?
You believe in giving somebody a second try.
Yeah, and you want to believe that it's possible, and you want to believe that they're gonna do things that would be good for people. But at the end of the day, just the announcement itself caused for the value of Petrobras to go down 3%. And I'm not talking about, that was the equivalent of $3,000. That was the equivalent of millions and millions of dollars that was lost. So
what was the announcement?
There was a few things that he did almost immediately taking power, right? First of all, announcing that we are not privatizing any of the companies that my predecessor was trying to privatize.
So Petrobras will continue to be
a state run by the government. So good luck with that, right?
Yeah.
So second of all, one of the things that I think that Latin America truly doesn't have a clear understanding of how significant the Second Amendment is in this country.
Oh yeah. So they want to take guns
So
away?
they actually want to want to stop access because obviously the previous president was, creating an environment where people would be able to.
Because that's always the best sign, right? When the country wants to remove the people's rights to bear arms.
So it's
So let's say that happens.
Yeah.
Who has the guns? If you and I don't have the guns, who has them?
Just the army.
And
the government.
And the criminals. The bad guys.
But that 1,000%.
The bad guys are the ones that
no, 100%.
They're gonna have access to period.
Can I tell you that is the one part that most people don't get?
Yeah.
The fact that you don't want to arm the good guys doesn't mean that you're gonna disarm the bad guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like that's the most unfortunate thing.
I keep on saying this, but in my country, people go to demonstrations with pots and pans. Like the government is shooting at us, and we're going there, ping, 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 ping. Like it's just not pretty.
Crazy.
It's not.
It's another right that's definitely taken for granted here, 1,000%.
Yeah, it's like that. Taking guns away is never the option.
But I mean, just think about it, right?
Nothing good ever came from that either.
Yeah.
So.
If people don't understand it here, right? And we are always like a couple of inches away from losing that right. Imagine people that are outside of this country, right? That are being sold into the idea that the problem is the guns, right? I promise you that somebody will always find a knife if it's needed. When you happen to be a criminal, you're gonna find a way to do criminal activity. So, regardless, whatever it is. The problem is that is the one concept that I hope everybody will remember. The fact that you don't allow the good guys, because as long as an army, unless you're saying 0 weapons across the board, and that means that the next time you have lunch, you can't even do it with a real knife and fork. You're gonna have to, I don't know.
What is it? A spork?
Go Indian or
things are
Guyanese
terrible.
style, you know what I mean? And just use your hand. I have no idea. But anyway, with that being said, also, now, a couple of things, by the way, I don't want to criticize it 100% without highlighting something that I do believe is positive. You know what I mean? They're going to put additional funding through the rainforest, Amazon area, you know what I mean? And I'm saying positive because I'm hoping that they're actually going to do something useful with it, like planting trees. How about that, right? If everybody's so concerned, the green movement gets a little out of hand sometimes. You guys are like out of your mind most of the time, right? But how about something as simple as as you know, start protesting. Get 3,000 people protesting to just go plant a tree.
Right.
You have no idea how much of a difference that will make. And that goes back to Brazil. Listen, like, I have no issues with additional money to go into improving the planet. I would love for us, the same way that you want to have a healthy body, you want to have a healthy planet. It's good
Right.
for everyone.
That's true.
The problem is when this just become another gimmick, another situation. The previous president literally said, "No somos el pulmón del mundo. We're not the lung of the world," right? And it's because it is one of those conversations where if you don't support it, you're a bad guy, right? The problem is, what are we supporting? We're just throwing money to something that we don't know exactly how it's going to be used, and that opens the doors to more corruption. So going back to the reason why we're having this conversation about this, and finally, it has a lot another position that he took in terms of classifying and declassifying documents, right? Yeah, you know.
Wait, so Brazil is going through that too?
Yeah, Brazil was trying to come up with something that is very similar. Bolsonaro was trying to come up with something that would be similar to how United States will classify certain documents for a long time, right? About 100 years. LULA in this case is actually saying, well, we're gonna probably make it shorter. Now, I don't, to be quite honest with you, I have mixed feelings about that, right? Look at the mess that we got going on with JFK and a lot of things that we would like to know. Area 51, everybody's asking, okay, somebody, please, for the love of God, say something. What the hell is going on there? We don't know. We don't know what's taking place. So sometimes documents to be classified for such a long time, I know that they keep saying that it's for the better good of the public, right? But at some point you want to say, hey, how about you treat me as a grown-up, not as a child? Okay, let me process that information and see how do I handle it. Hopefully, by the way, hopefully there is no information out there that will require looking for a tall building because it was so bad, right?
But did you check your garage just to make sure that you don't have any classified documents?
I know.
Everybody and their mother.
Apparently, everybody's garage is.
I went through my closet and everything.
I don't like closets, but that's like a whole other thing.